Hey guys, it's Sithlore. Wanted to talk about the patch notes for PTR 1.07, and there's a lot of really good changes, things that I'm excited about, and some things that I think could have done without. So let me just jump right in and go through basically each topic, and some things I'll address, some things I won't. So as far as the biggest new feature, of course, PvP. It's not the dueling that everyone was looking for, but it does allow for 2 to 4 players to basically have a free-for-all, and so I know that's a welcome addition for a lot of people. I haven't done a lot of PvP in the past, but may consider trying it out. So the biggest changes are the fact that the Nephilim Valor does persist through the axe. Realistically, it's not a big deal. You still can't teleport from one act to another. The only way for this to actually work is to go through, complete the act boss, and then after completing the act boss, you go to the next act. So it's not like you can get 5 stacks in Act 3 and then decide to go to Act 1. You cannot go back, you can only go forward. The base pickup radius is increased slightly. They won't be a big deal for most people, but for those of you who are running without any sort of pickup radius whatsoever, it will be a little easier to pick up gold and things along that line. The resurrection timer I don't think is a big deal. The other aspect that is a significant increase is for anyone who wants to run anything greater than MP0, which would be myself. You will get additional experience as a result. I've said all along that based on the mechanics of drops in Inferno, I always recommend, unless you can't handle it, running at least MP1. I realize it's a little longer than MP0, which was what generically people were running, but the drops are much better as a result. So again, now you get the added experience from running the higher MP, but I'd still recommend at least MP1 no matter what. The auction house, no big differences. BattleNet, essentially the only big difference is you can now monster power in public games as well as private games, and you can now report botting. Bosses. The biggest changes for the class are, for the monk primarily, the weapon damage of the skills has increased significantly for some of these skills. The biggest one being Lashing Tail Kick and Wave of Light. Now Wave of Light now does 829% damage, so it's 3 times the amount of damage that the base skill used to do. Some of the other ones are significant increases as well. Dashing Strike going from 160 to 303, Cyclone Strike 100 to 313. So massive changes, or incremental damage that is now being done. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this change. It is a significant buff, but what I would have preferred was actually reducing the spirit cost rather than increasing the damage. So essentially all they're doing is rewarding players for mixing things up. The monk was the most lacking out of all 5 classes for the everyone using the same skills and abilities. And so now what they're doing is they're encouraging everyone to utilize some of the secondary skills rather than only focusing on the main build. One of the ones that I was surprised that did get a buff was Sweeping Wind Cyclone. So even that skill, the weapon damage is increased from 20 to 26%. So anyways, I will go through more of these in detail in the near future. Some of these videos I've already done, others I'm in the process of doing or would be doing in the near future. I'm going to hold off, of course, on the ones that I haven't done yet, and I will supplement some of the skills that I have done so that they're up to date for 1.07. The other aspect that was significant, the Wizard did receive some damage buffs as well, primarily to Blizzard, a huge increase to Blizzard, going from 210% to 510% over 6 seconds. It's still not a huge DPS skill, because the 510 is still roughly about 80, or it is 85. It's 85% weapon damage per second. So it is a big increase, but it's still not an overpowering skill. Some minor tweaks for some of the other skills, 175 to 200% damage. The biggest change actually came in the secondary skills. Unstable Anomaly completely changes the way that the skill works. Now, just like the Monk and the Witch Doctor, the Wizard has a skill that when receiving fatal damage, or when you would have died, you have your life, some life restored, and it's essentially a get it a death free card. So this will be key for any Wizard that is playing in hardcore. The thing that I'm the most excited about is the crafting elements, and there's a couple of things that were reported in the preview, and a couple of things that weren't. So the first thing is the demonic essences. These drop fairly regularly. I played the PTR just for about 20-30 minutes. Went through the second half of Act 3 and the beginning of Act 4 just to see how the transition worked. Was able to get one of the new plans that we'll talk about shortly, and during that time I killed about 10 elite packs, and playing on MP0 got 4 demonic essences. So although it says it's a 20% drop chance, I got lucky, and it was higher than that for me. But what I'm excited about is the fact that the drop rate for the blacksmith and jeweler designs has been increased by 400%. That was one of the biggest issues that I had, is that the jeweler designs especially hardly ever drop. I've found 2 of them since I've been playing, and I've spent quite a bit of time playing. The blacksmith plans drop occasionally, but the biggest aspect of the plans is now the new recipes that have been added. So these drop from some of the bosses, what'll be listed below. They have 6 affixes. They do require special like demonic essences, and they vary for the cost and things along that line. Personally, I feel that the 1 demonic essence is low for a crafting requirement. I would have preferred something a lot higher than that, but that's what Blizzard's decided to do. They are account bound, but they do provide pretty good bonuses. So in addition to the blacksmith and the 4 recipes that you can get for there, so all of those except the armor drops from various enemies. The armor you purchase from Squirt the Peddler. So the recipe that dropped for me was an amulet recipe, and it was the strength one I got from killing Rakanoff. It has a 50% chance of dropping from any of the enemies. I thought it had listed of which ones drop it, but no, there they are. So Rakanoff was who I got it from. In each of the I also killed Sadea. She didn't drop one. So every single act has 2 people that can drop them, and they have a 50% chance of dropping. So that's the different aspects. So each of the recipes, although there's 4 of them, they come with a specific stat. So in my case, it was the strength one that dropped. There is also a new tier of gems, which is the Marquee. So it just adds basically the next step up. So normally the perfect radiant emerald does 110% critical hit damage, whereas the next level this is 110. So all of them have just moved up as a result of that. Pretty much those are the major aspects and major changes. Reflex damage has changed significantly. Actually, out of the 10 packs that I fought, not one of them had reflex damage, but it has changed. So I can't tell you exactly how it's changed, other than it's a duration buff. So it'll be much like shielding. I expect that the reflex damage aura will look a lot like the shield as well, although probably a different color. But again, I haven't seen that one in effect. The molten affix, the damage has been reduced, the plagued has been increased, and unless you're an inferno, and a lot of the keyword and attributes have been reduced. So anyways, guys, that is the kind of a brief summary of PTR 1.07. Some changes that I'm excited about, like I said, the biggest ones being the crafting and the upgrades that are available there. I personally don't like having all of the legendary items being best in slot, so I'm hoping that these crafting requirements will help so that you can roll a really good item and use a crafted item rather than always relying on legendary items. So any questions or comments, please let me know, leave them below, and I will respond to you when I can. Thanks, guys.